All right, what is up, boys? It is a pretty gross 3-game slate today. I don't really like this slate. I'm not going to be playing much volume tonight, just full transparency, but we're still here to talk through this slate, answer any questions you guys have. It's been a really quiet day news-wise. A lot of teams are on back-to-backs today, so it would not be surprising if we get some random bomb, Embiid's out or Jokic is out, but for now we should be good to go. No injury news we're waiting on. We've got all the news that we need. It's a 3-game slate, not much to talk about. We won't be live for too long, probably just like 20-25 minutes. But if you have questions for tonight's slate, start throwing those in chat and we'll answer every question. What's up, Hunter? What's up, my man? Y'all need to go buy a Joker jersey right now. Jokic, man, he's been crushing this year for sure. I got me a Jokic, or I have a Jokic shirt. I don't have a jersey, but Jokic is one of my favorite players. I love the dude, and he's obviously a really good play tonight. I think 3-game slate, not a ton of great pay-up options. Jokic definitely stands out for sure. Which Spurs benefit the most with Keldon Johnson out? I think it's going to depend on a starting lineup. Most likely scenario is Keita Bates-Diop starts. So he probably plays a little bit more. I think Lonnie Walker could play a little bit more. Devin Vassell is going to play, and I think Devin Vassell could get more run. None of these Spurs value guys I feel great about, but these are guys that you can definitely go to on a 3-game slate just because, value's pretty thin. There's really no standout value plays tonight. So if you want to take a shot on Devin Vassell or Lonnie Walker and hope they play more with Keldon Johnson out, that's fine with me. We've seen the Spurs really spread out the minutes for the bench guys. You never know who's going to play the most minutes off the bench, but Lonnie Walker and Devin Vassell are the guys that give you, I think, the most upside. So I kind of like them as like dart throws. And if Keita Bates-Diop starts, he's playable, but man, not a guy that I really have much confidence in. I really question, what his upside is. Any love for the Sixers guards? I think they're contrarian options. I don't think Seth Curry or Tyrese Maxey really stand out at their price tags. They're going to be fairly low owned, I'd have to assume. So if you want to play Maxey or Curry as like a low owned play, it's totally fine. I'll go ahead and say it, on a 3-game slate or 2-game slate, whatever it may be, really short slates like this, any player that's going to get 15, 18 minutes is playable in large field GPPs. Just because, on these kind of slates, the player pool is just not as, big. You just don't have as many options to choose from. So if you get I don't know, what's a good example? I'm trying to think. Like Bones Highland. Let's say, with Denver on a back-to-back, maybe they don't play their starters as much and Bones Highland gets a few more minutes than we expect him to. If Bones Highland plays 20 minutes tonight, he could score 24 Draftkings points and be a really good value just because there's really unlikely to be a lot of cheap guys that go off on this slate. So, those are the kind of guys you can take shots on 3-game slates. On a full, 9, 10, 11-game slate, you just don't really ever play those guys. But really anyone's in play that you expect to get 18, 20 minutes. Is Embiid a good contrarian pay-up? I think so. Look, it's a 3-game slate. Obviously, you can play Joel Embiid. Now, does Joel Embiid project as good as Nikola Jokic? No. Does Joel Embiid project as good as LeBron James? No. Does Joel Embiid even project as good as Dejounte Murray? No, but that doesn't mean Embiid can't outscore all those guys. We've seen the massive ceiling that Embiid has. So, he's definitely in play for tournaments. He's going to be lower owned. It's a tough spot, but that doesn't mean that Embiid can't do well. For GPP outs, Tyus Jones, Donovan Mitchell, Dylan Brooks, Royce O'Neal, Embiid, Lonnie Walker, Danny Green, Derek White. I think that's good, CB. Danny Green's, he's one of those guys, I just never played Danny Green, but on a 3-game slate, I think it's fine. Danny Green's actually pretty cheap. He's 3,300 on DK. Yeah, he's 3,300. He's been getting decent minutes. If we get 30 minutes from Danny Green tonight, he could be fine at 3,300. He could score 20 DraftKings points and be pretty solid for you, so... I'd be fine playing Danny Green on this slate, and I never play Danny Green. Harris or Triple J? Give me Triple J. Jokic is not out. I was just kind of making an assumption. Just because there's so many teams, 4 of the 6 teams playing tonight are on back-to-back, so it would not be surprising if we get some random bomb, a guy gets ruled out. But for now, we're good to go. Don't expect anyone to be out, but you never know with NBA, man. We saw when the Bucks were on a back-to-back, They ruled Giannis out 10 minutes before the game started. So you never know. With NBA, you always have to be ready for injuries. But for now, should be good to go. There's no No players on the injury report. We'll have to wait and see, though. 4 Grizzlies too much. I think that's probably the max that I would do, Ryan. You know, right now the Grizzlies are kind of popping in the projections. Like Dylan Brooks is projecting really well. Triple J is projecting really well. These guys are getting a lot of ownership. You know, if you don't pay up for any studs today and you go like a mid-range type build, I mean, if you're doing like a mid-range type build, you're going to be playing a lot of Grizzlies because, you know, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, like these are the guys in the mid-range that you would probably want to play. So I think I'd be fine playing 4 Grizzlies tonight. That's definitely the max, though. I would not play more than that. If you're playing 5 or 6 Grizzlies, then yeah, you're just doing too much. But 4 is probably okay. Shout out from the Philippines. Lucas, appreciate you watching from the Philippines, my man. We got a lot of guys watch from the Philippines. I think it's because on Yahoo, or I think you can play on Yahoo in the Philippines. So I think a lot of people who play on Yahoo watch from the Philippines. Appreciate you watching, man. Best game to stack tonight, 2 to 3 players. I mean, the Lakers-Grizzlies game in terms of pace and expected points is probably the most appealing game on the slate. So, like, I could definitely see playing, you know, one of the Lakers' big 3, whether it be LeBron, AD, or Westbrook. Probably LeBron would be my favorite. And then playing, like, a couple Grizzlies, you know, maybe Triple J, maybe Dylan Brooks, maybe Tyus Jones. Like, but I don't know if there's any game that I'd love to stack. But game stacking is a lot more viable on short slates like this, in my opinion. Notice the NBA, but what are your thoughts on Dalvin Cook tonight? We got a report earlier that Dalvin Cook, that he's going to be good to go. Schefter tweeted out like that he's going to get his normal workload. So I think Dalvin Cook, you know, for the showdown slate, he's definitely viable. I think Dalvin Cook will be lower owned than Justin Jefferson and Deontay Johnson and those guys. So you know, if you want to get a little different, I think Cook as a pay-up option makes a lot of sense. Cook at captain, I think will be very contrarian. I don't see a lot of people playing Cook at captain on the showdown slate. I think McDermott, best Spur if Johnson's out. I mean, yeah, Doug McDermott, like his minute ceiling this year has just not been high. You look at his last 10 games, like he hasn't played, I don't think he's played 30 minutes in his last 10 games at all. Like he hasn't clipped 30 minutes. He's been kind of stuck around the mid-20s. You know, Doug McDermott's another guy that I just never play because he's like really, really scoring dependent, but he's 4,200. He should play a little bit more without Keldon Johnson. He's playable, I think. Probably not my favorite value, but I think he's playable for sure. Does Rudy Gay do well tonight? I think Rudy Gay is playable, but we did get word that Hassan Whiteside's going to play. I think with Hassan Whiteside playing, that does kind of hurt Rudy Gay a little bit because they've been using Rudy Gay as the backup center with Hassan Whiteside out, which has been helping Rudy Gay's production, and he's been playing a few more minutes. But now that Whiteside's back, I think Rudy Gay, you know, goes back to playing like 15, 18 minutes, which doesn't make him out of play. He's just, you know, not as good of an option now that Hassan Whiteside's playing. Russo, Neil Clarkson, or Melton? Give me DeAnthony Melton. I feel like the team I like the most guys from tonight is Memphis. I mean, yeah, that's what the projections would agree with you there too. Like a lot of the top point per dollar plays projections wise, you know, a lot of ownership as well is going to the Grizzlies. So like right now with the projections I use, two highest owned projected players are DeAnthony Melton and Jaren Jackson Jr. So, you know, Memphis is going to be a like kind of team that gets a lot of ownership tonight. If you want to be really different, just don't play any Grizzlies. I remember Danny Green scored 50 DK points once. I remember that too. I think it was last season. He had a triple-double, I'm pretty sure. Danny Green did. I don't think anyone played him that day either, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Devin Vassell, I think he's, you know, one of those Spurs guys we talked about that, you know, you're not confident in Devin Vassell, but he could play more with Keldon Johnson out. You could see maybe Lonnie Walker play more. Those guys are like dart throws in my opinion, but they're viable just because, you know, especially like Vassell and Lonnie Walker, if they get more minutes than we expect them to, they can be productive in those minutes and, you know, be really good values. So they're definitely playable for sure. Vassell, Walker. Noah, great show, bro. Hey, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. AD and Joker, top priority spin-ups. Jokic for sure my favorite spin-up if you can fit him. I would say probably second favorite's Dejounte Murray. I would prefer Dejounte Murray over AD, I think. And I probably would take LeBron over AD as well. But Jokic for sure is like the best pay up tonight, in my opinion. What's up? Love this live before lock. Thanks, Noah. Hey, Jeremy. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm glad you enjoy the streams. What center do you like the most behind the two studs? So I'm guessing you mean Jokic and Embiid. Other centers that I think you could target, like Triple J, you can play at center. I think it's a really good spot for Triple J and a good matchup against the Lakers. Jakob Poeltl, as long as Jakob Poeltl stays out of foul trouble, I think he has to play like 30, 32 minutes because they're going to need him against Jokic. So I think Jakob Poeltl's in play. And then Steven Adams, he's been getting more minutes lately. He's been pretty productive when he's been on the floor. If we get 30 minutes from Steven Adams at 5,100, like he's viable too. So I would say like those guys, Poeltl, Steven Adams, Triple J. You know, if you're not going to pay up for Jokic or Embiid, those are probably like my next favorite centers. And Rudy Gobert is fine too. But I probably would prefer those guys. They're cheaper, honestly. What's up, y'all? I'm fully locked in tonight, Noah. Let's get it, brother. Hey, let's get it, Oscar. Get it, my man. Jakob Poeltl or Derek White? I would say Derek White over Poeltl, but that's a really close one. Those two guys project very closely, I would say. Tyus Jones, Monk, Morris, Brooks, Triple J, Vassell, Jokic, Gobert. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a solid lineup for sure. Thoughts on Aaron Gordon and his minutes tonight? I mean, Aaron Gordon, God, he's just one of these guys that I never play. The only times I've played Aaron Gordon this year has been when Jokic was out, and obviously that's not the case tonight. So, like 6,100, he feels priced right. I mean, he played 43 minutes last night, and he still just scored 20 DK points. Like, Aaron Gordon has just not been that productive playing alongside Jokic this year. His best games have been whenever Jokic has been out. So, man, 6,100, like, I don't think Aaron Gordon really stands out on this slate, to me at least. I think he'll be lower owned, so he's a fine tournament play. But, like, you look at the guys priced around him, Tyus Jones, Dylan Brooks, Derek White, Poeltl, even Conley's cheaper. Like, I think I'd rather play those guys over Aaron Gordon, personally. Thoughts on Joe Ingles? I mean, Joe Ingles, he's a dart throw. I think he's playable. It's a 3-game slate. But, like, God, like, I just don't know how many minutes Joe Ingles really plays. He probably plays, like, low 20s. He really hasn't been that productive this year. Joe Ingles is another one of these guys that, like, I just never play Joe Ingles. Only time I ever play him is when, either Conley or Mitchell's out, which is not the case tonight. So, he's playable. It's just not someone I'm really that high on personally. There's no value plays that are great tonight. Like, just play whoever you want at value, honestly. Like, I would be very surprised if, like, there's a value play that just crushes that you have to have. Like, the guys you're considering for value tonight are, like, Royce O'Neal, Jeff Green, DeAnthony Melton, Doug McDermott, Devin Vassell. Like, none of these guys have a massive ceiling. You just got to... One of these guys is probably going to score, like, 28 DK points, and you just got to hope you roster the one that does. I'll be honest. Like, I feel like that's how you probably win this slate. What's your number 1 and 2 cheap value plays tonight? Again, like, value is really thin. There's no one that I'm super confident in, but I think you're looking for cheap guys that at least have a little bit of upside. Like, I think DeAnthony Melton at 4,600, he's been playing more without Ja. DeAnthony Melton's been productive when he gets minutes, so if he plays like 25 minutes, I think DeAnthony Melton can at least put up a good enough score to be someone that, could win you the slate, I guess. But he's going to be popular too. Like, right now, he's projected to be the highest owned play on the slate, so do with that what you will. But I think DeAnthony Melton's a decent value. I think Royce O'Neal, just for the minutes he's going to play, is a decent value. And then, like, Doug McDermott, Devin Vassell, Lonnie Walker, like, these guys are playable too. But I guess those would be my 2 favorite values, Melton and Royce O'Neal, which is just gross to say. Best 4K guard? I think Lonnie Walker's 3,700, so it'd probably be Lonnie Walker for me. Lonnie Walker or Joe Ingles, like one of those two guys. Adams, Monte Morris, Conley, or Bogdanovich? Give me Conley. Danny Green or Keita Diop? Give me Danny Green, honestly. Green or Anthony? So Danny Green or Carmelo Anthony? I mean, give me Carmelo Anthony if you have, or Jeff Green or Carmelo Anthony. If that's Jeff Green or Carmelo Anthony, I'd probably take Jeff Green. Do you like Barton and or Monte Morris? I think they're fine, Michael, but neither one stand out to me, I'll be honest. Like, really the only standout play from Denver, in my opinion, is Jokic, and I think the rest of Denver, they're just like secondary plays. Jokic is like the best play from Denver. The rest of the guys are just, not that appealing. But they're viable just because it's, a 3-game slate. Tyus Jones, Derek White, Dylan Brooks, Triple J, Poeltl, Lonnie Walker, Royce O'Neal, LBJ. I mean, I like that, Ryan. I think it's a solid lineup for sure. Melton, Derek White, Brooks, Royce O'Neal, Monte Morris, Embiid, Jaren Jackson, Steven Adams. Tom, I think that's a good lineup. I don't see anything I'd change there. Murray, Melton, Monk, Vassell, Triple J, O'Neal, Jokic, Pirtle. Am I dreaming? I mean, it's always hard to say, like, I don't know what's going to be the winning lineup tonight. I'm going to be very interested to see what the winning lineup is, to be honest with you. But I think that's solid still. Who are the best top-end plays? If you're talking about, like, pay-up options, Jokic, Dejounte Murray, LBJ, those are probably my 3 favorites, honestly. But I think Embiid, like, in tournaments makes a lot of sense because Embiid's going to get, pretty low ownership. And it's a 3-game slate. Like, even though the matchup's tough against Utah, when you can get Joel Embiid at, what's his ownership right now? Like, Joel Embiid's 10% owned on a 3-game slate. Like, yeah, I mean, that's a guy that you can definitely play in tournaments. Thank you, Noah. You the man, bro. Hey, Oscar. Appreciate the kind words, buddy. Appreciate the kind words. Noah, what's good? What's up, Didi? What's up, my man? Anthony Davis playing tonight? Yes, he's playing. Or he's probable, at least. AD and LeBron are probable, so they're expected to play. Like I said earlier, there's no injury news right now that we're waiting on. We should be good to go, but again, with NBA, you never know. Guys can randomly get ruled out. It happens all the time, but for now, we should be good to go for injuries. Shake Milton or Jordan Clarkson? Give me Clarkson if I had to pick one of the two there. Do you like Vassell? I think Devin Vassell's in play, yeah. If it was a different slate, I probably would have no interest in Devin Vassell, but because it's a 3-game slate and we don't really have any value, he's in play, now that he's expected to go. And he should play a little bit more with Keldon Johnson out, you would have to think. And there's obviously a possibility that he winds up starting too. I think it'll probably be Keita Bates-Diop who starts, but yeah, if Vassell were to start, he'd be a good value. I'd like him way more if he was starting, I guess. Jokic, LeBron, Davis, or Embiid? I mean, Jokic, it was the guy I would take there personally. What up, Noah? Another big night last night? Dirty Dan. Glad to hear that, man. Glad to hear that. Did you guys see my bad beat I had on Prize Picks again last night? Brutal, man. Brutal. I needed 1 fantasy point from Nurkic with 3 minutes left in the game. He misses an easy floater at the free throw line, and then he fouls Draymond, picks up his 6th foul, and fouls out with 3 minutes left. I needed 1 fantasy point from Nurkic with 3 minutes left to win $5,000, and he fouls out. Hate to see it, man. Prize Picks is just getting lucky right now, man. They're getting so lucky. I should be bleeding them. Jokic feels like a scary fade in a 3-game slate. I'll be honest, Ryan, yeah. Like, if I was just playing one lineup and I didn't have Jokic, like, I would be terrified. But there's obviously guys that could outscore Jokic. Like, Embiid could outscore Jokic tonight. One of the Lakers guys could do really well, and I wouldn't be surprised. But Jokic is definitely the best projected option for sure. Like, he projects for 56 DraftKings points. Embiid projects for 50. So, there's a 6-point gap in projection there. Why aren't you growing a Christmas beard? I can't even grow a beard. The only thing I can grow is like chin hair. That's it. It doesn't connect. It's just, it all grows right here and nothing ever connects here. So maybe one day I'll be able to grow a beard, but not right now. You like THT? He's playable. I think I like THT a little bit more on Yahoo, just given that, you have to play at least one small forward over there. But like on this slate, I don't think THT is like a standout play by any means. Especially where he's priced at. Brooks or Derek White? That's really close. I think I would take Dylan Brooks over Derek White, but that's a close one for sure. Bones and Bane or Tyus and Monk? You give me Bones and Bane there. I know, Dirty Dan. It's brutal, man. We're losing 4 pick power plays to win 5K. We're losing them by either, for NFL, we've been losing them by a few yards, or for NBA, we've been losing them by like half a point. I mean, it's just been brutal. And last night we should have won, but fucking Nurkic had to foul out with 3 minutes left. I mean, I'm sure if he would have played those final 3 minutes, he would have got me 1 fantasy point, but of course he fouls out with 3 minutes left. Just brutal. Thoughts on Jeff Green? I mean, I think Jeff Green's a fine value. He's been playing like 30 minutes a night. You never know what you're going to get from Jeff Green. Like, he's not that productive of a player, but he's 4,800 and he's going to play 30 minutes. So on this slate, he's in play for me for sure. I would compare him similarly to Royce O'Neal and to some of these other cheap guys we've talked about. Bane or Melton? Give me Bane for sure if you have the salary. Any interest in Danny Green as a value, or do you prefer Keita Bates-Diop? I would probably take Danny Green over Keita Bates-Diop personally. Who's your favorite NBA team? My favorite team is the Lakers. I've been a LeBron fan my whole life, so I'm a Lakers fan. And I am going to the Hornets and Lakers play next month. Friday, it's a Friday night. The Hornets-Lakers play next month, and I'm going to that game. I'm so excited. It'll be my first Lakers game. I've been to plenty of NBA games my whole life, but this will be my first time watching the Lakers since LeBron's been on the team. So I'm super excited. Some bad beats for you lately on prospects. My sincere condolences. Hopefully soon these free things start to go your way at the end of the games. I hope so, man. It's been brutal. These bad beats on prospects have just been so brutal. But I want to say at some point it's going to turn around. At some point, luck's going to be on my side, I hope. Anything you like on prospects right now? I'll be honest, Christopher, the NBA board for prospects today, I don't love a ton. I was hoping that we would get some random injury news and then, I could make an entry in that scenario. But, the projections today feel pretty accurate, I'll be honest. There's a couple things I like, more so on the prop side than the fantasy points. But, so one pick I gave out for Patreon members that I like a lot is Dejounte Murray over 7.5 assists. Dejounte Murray this year, he's averaging almost 8 assists per game, I do believe. He's gotten at least 7 assists in 5 straight games. He's pretty likely to get at least 6-7 assists. He's going to get very close to that projection. In most games, he'll exceed that and get you 8 assists. So I think Dejounte Murray over 7.5 assists is something I like for prospects tonight. Desmond Bane's points I kind of like. It's a fast-paced game. The Lakers play really fast. Desmond Bane's been taking a ton of shots with Ja out. He's a really good shooter. I think Desmond Bane can get 17 points for us, so over 16.5 points for Desmond Bane. I like that. But I'll be honest, man, the prospect board today, it's pretty tough. There's not a ton that I love, I'll be honest. I think I'm probably going to do some NFL entries just to have something to sweat, but I don't expect to have a ton of money in play today, that's for sure, just because I don't love the board in general. And I don't love, what I'm playing, to be honest with you. Lonnie Campazzo or Bones? Give me Lonnie Walker. These bad beats just show how accurate prospects projections end up being. I guess that's somewhat true, Blake, but then again, it's these guys should be going over, but I'm just getting screwed because either, they foul out or a guy, I take the over on a guy's points and he literally shoots 10% from the field. So I feel like I'm kind of getting screwed in the end, but it is what it is. But last night with Nurkic, he would have went over if he didn't foul out. I'm pretty confident Nurkic would have got me 1 fantasy point in 3 minutes if he didn't foul out. But it is what it is, man. Yeah, I'm hoping when we play, LaMelo will be healthy. I already looked at the schedule, so the Lakers do play Thursday. So they have a game Thursday, and then they have to travel to Charlotte on Friday. I'm a little bit worried that the Lakers rest somebody when we go to the game, but hopefully, they'll play. I think they play the Sixers Thursday night in Philadelphia, and then they have to travel to Charlotte Friday night. I'm hoping that everyone plays for the Lakers then. And I'd assume that LaMelo and Rozier and all those guys will be back. The game isn't until end of January. Shake Shack tonight? I don't get Shake Shack where I live, man. It sucks. The only time I ever get to eat Shake Shack is when we go out of town. So when we go to Charlotte, when we go to Atlanta, then I can eat Shake Shack. But where I live, we don't have one, sadly. I wish we did, because goddamn, Shake Shack is amazing. I love it. Pull up Jarrett Culver from Memphis. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. Draftkings still hasn't fixed this, but Jarrett Culver, his profile picture or his, whatever it is, his headshot, it's a picture of Ja. And it's been like this for I don't even know how long. What are they doing? Just update the picture. My God. Someone needs to tell Draftkings to fix that. It's been like that for months, I think. Yeah, Nurkic is always in foul trouble. That's the worst part. He had 3 fouls at halftime, and then he picked up, I think he had 3 fouls heading into the fourth quarter, and then he picked up literally 3 fouls in the fourth quarter. It was so brutal. And when he picked up his 5th foul with 4 minutes left, I was literally in my head, I'm saying, I already know he's going to foul out and I'm going to lose because of that. And surely enough, it happened. Brutal, man. Melton, LeBron, Walker, Jokic, Morris, Monk, and O'Neal. I think that's solid, Chris. I think that's solid. Rudy Gay's my sleeper tonight. I mean, I don't know if Rudy Gay's going to be much of a sleeper. His projected ownership right now is, what is it? Where is it at? Let's see. He's projected for 12% ownership. So, yeah, he will be somewhat low owned. I mean, I thought Rudy Gay was a pretty good value if Whiteside was out. Now that Whiteside's playing, I'm a little bit hesitant on Rudy Gay, but I still think he's playable. Monte Morris or Bogdanovich? Give me Bojan. You think Thad will get minutes to defend Jokic? Anytime I think Thad plays some, like, it seems like he never does. Like, you just never know with these Spurs bench guys. So, like, Thad was a DNP last game. He didn't even play. So, like, there's not even a guarantee that Thad gets minutes tonight. You know, Thad's one of these guys that when he does get minutes, he can be really productive. He's one of those guys, like, you could definitely take a shot on in GPPs and just hope he gets, like, 20 minutes. I'd assume nobody's playing him. But, yeah, he's projected for no ownership, so... Could Thaddeus Young play more with Keldon Johnson out? He definitely could. Am I confident in that? No, I'm not confident at all. But on a 3-game slate, like, yeah, you could just take the shot and hope he gets minutes. What's LeBron's ownership? Right now, LeBron, let me see. He's projected for 27.5%. Lakers Hornets play at the fastest paces too. Yeah, it should be a great game. I'd assume it's going to be high scoring. You know, last time the Lakers and Hornets played, it went to overtime. That was back when they played in LA. I looked at the schedule this year, and because you know where I live in South Carolina, so like the closest game or closest arenas to me are either go to a Hawks game or go to a Hornets game. So I looked at the schedule and I saw that the Lakers played the Hornets in Charlotte on a Friday night, and I told my girl, I was like, we got to go. So we already bought the tickets, already booked the hotel. I'm so excited, man. And if any of you guys are going to be at the Lakers Hornets game in January, I'll be there. You might see me. Did Adams play for the Lakers before? Steven Adams? I don't think so. Not that I remember. He's only played for the Thunder and Memphis, and I think that's it. Any pivots you like from Rudy Gay, or is he still a solid play for his price? He's still fine, but like at his price range, I probably would take like Devin Vassell now over Rudy Gay. I probably would play Lonnie Walker over Rudy Gay. I think that's close. I'm not as high on Rudy Gay now that Hassan Whiteside's playing, just because I don't expect Rudy Gay to be as productive, now that he's not going to be playing like, the backup center minutes, which is what he's been getting lately with Whiteside out. All right, last question here, McDermott or Anderson? I'm assuming that's Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson, I think he's still questionable, so we don't even know if he's playing yet. I guess if Kyle Anderson plays, I'd probably take him over Doug McDermott, but you'll just have to wait and see there. Many thanks from Hilton Head, South Carolina. Let's win some big bucks tonight, everyone. Hey, let's get it, my man. Let's get it. All right, boys, I'm out of here. Best of luck tonight. Little 3-game slate. Again, right now, there's no injury news that we're waiting on, but you never know with NBA. Just be prepared. Players get randomly ruled out all the time, but I'd assume we're good to go for tonight. I wish you guys the best of luck. We'll be back tomorrow, hour before lock as always. We got a big 9-game slate tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Best of luck tonight.